Beep, 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 beep. Hello, peeps. Become a warrior teacher, buy me a coffee. Usual stuff. Super thanks if you can do. I've got a great piece here from Douglas Murray. It's not my usual topic, but we'll do it at any rate because I think it reveals something about the people that are involved on what is commonly being called the other side. I just think that they're wicked and wrong. The media, is the headline, ignores Muslim killing of gay man because it doesn't fit narrative. So this is very much about the narrative that the mainstream media wish to tell, which means that they have been absolutely culpable in other things as well, as we know, with the transgender nonsense and the queer nonsense, that the media has played more than its part in pushing forward these ridiculous notions, and doing so by including characters that are trans in film and television, in stories, and also including the idea of trans joy and multiple genders. We've seen it all before. All of it, right? Because they've done it before. But it comes to something when they ignore a story because it goes against their narrative. Now, what Douglas is talking about here is predominantly an American phenomenon, but I wonder if it would be different over here. So he says it is worth pausing over every murder that goes on in this city, but a brutal killing this week deserves special attention. This was in Coney Island. Not least because it tells us something it appears we don't want to know. O'Shea Sibley was a talented 28-year-old dancer and choreographer. He was stabbed to death last Saturday night at a gas station in Brooklyn. Video surveillance footage obtained by the Post shows that Sibley and 3 of his friends stopped at the local mobile station to refill. While they were there, Sibley and one of his friends started dancing. I love that Murray's put here brackets, voguing, as if he doesn't know what it is. Douglas, I bet you vogued in your time. To Beyonce. This drew the attention of another group of men at the station. Words were exchanged and Sibley was stabbed. His friend and some bystanders called 911 and tried to help him, but he bled to death on the sidewalk. But lives are cruelly disposed of every week in this city. Why do I say that we should linger on this one? Firstly, because it is strange that O'Shea Sibley's killing has not had more attention. Every life matters, but Sibley happened to be black and gay. Normally either of these things, let alone both, would attract serious attention for the media and campaign groups. Yet while the killing was widely been reported as a hate crime, it is the wrong sort of hate crime, one that doesn't fit the dominant enforced narrative of our time. Had the group who confronted Sibley and his friends been white and shouted that they didn't like gay people or black people, this country would be in meltdown right now. Every presidential candidate would be condemning it. All the community groups who make a profession out of campaigning against hate would be in full fundraising mode. The New York Times would have cleared the pages for days of reflections on what this said about America. But that is not what happened. Here's what happened according to the people who were there. One of the friends who was with Sibley when he was murdered posted a photo on social media of the bloodied sidewalk and wrote, "They hated us because we are gay." Screaming, "We Muslim and we don't like gays," as we are innocently pumping gas and you all decide to stab one of us. #justice. Perhaps the media were simply cautious about reporting this when it was only one eyewitness. Yet there is a second witness who has spoken to a local website. An employee at the gas station said that the flamboyant behaviour of Sibley and his friends offended the other group because the other group were Muslims. Here's what the gas station employee said. These people were like, "We're Muslim. I don't want you dancing." The gay people, they were not trying to fight. Yet these facts don't fit the narrative. The victim was gay and black. The perpetrator was Muslim. Our era is obsessed with hate crimes, so much so that it sees them in places where they don't even happen. Yet last Saturday, in Brooklyn, was a hate crime, and the media are actually covering it up. All because Sibley's assailants were not hood-wearing members of the KKK or MAGA hat-wearing Republicans. Instead, they come from another group that our media identifies as a victim class. The fact that the men were Muslim is why the media has been actively dishonest in its reporting. Despite the story going around the world, the New York Times has written about the case, but it has not bothered to inform its readers of why Sibley bled out on a Brooklyn sidewalk. Had the Times had even a whiff of this being a white on gay hate crime, they would have waited for one eyewitness. They wouldn't have waited for one eyewitness, let alone two. They would have told all, speculated about everything, and asked what they said about this country and everyone in it. But because the identity and motive of the perpetrators are an awkward glitch in that paper's big narrative, the Times simply covered over the facts. The Guardian went one worse. That paper quoted Sibley's friend, who I quoted above, but they actually edited out the detail about the attackers being Muslim and the words they said. Because again, it doesn't fit the Guardian's narrative. The most that newspapers could bring itself to say was that an eyewitness said that the perpetrators mentioned defending their religious beliefs during the confrontation. Apparently, dancing to Beyoncé can be an assault on some people's religious beliefs. But whose? The Guardian wouldn't tell you. It is happy to leave its readers with the impression that white Christian rednecks or Orthodox Jews might have carried out the killing. Shamefully, the gay press has done the same. In their usual betrayal of the people they claim to speak for, gay rights groups have reacted to the story by helping to cover it up. Some gay groups have even tried to link the killing to recent debates about transgender issues, ignoring the fact that men at the Brooklyn station seem to have been more influenced by the views of the founder of Islam than the governor of California. Obviously, such false reporting is another reason why so many people don't trust the media these days. But this cover-up also displays an appalling cowardice, because we should be able to look facts in the face. We should be able to face the complexity of the world, reality as we used to call it. Nobody should be murdered because of who they are, but nor should a murderer be given cover because of who they are. In particular, they should not have their crime scenes tidied up for them by a media and activist class who can't deal with facts. The reality is that life is more complex than the lies we have been telling ourselves in recent years. America shouldn't be divided by groups, and evil shouldn't be divided by groups either. Anybody might be a victim of hate, and anyone from any group, even a minority, might be a perpetrator. Ponder that, and we'll do this one victim, at least, a fragment of the justice he deserves. Thank you, Douglas. It's a very clear and very well-written piece. I don't even know what to tell you. This is intersectionality writ large, you know that, right? Well, you can't mention them because they're high up the intersectional ladder. This is intersectionally writ large. This is EDI calls this. DEI. Right, whatever you want to call it. That's what's caused this. That's what's caused this. The fractious teaching of identity politic nonsense to the masses. That's what's caused it. That's what's caused it. And it all needs to end. I'd like to say that this is likely to be the last of these types of reporting, and most of all I would like to say it will be the last time a gay man is stabbed for being who he is. We are Muslim, we don't like you dancing. It says it all. It says it all. But yet they tried to cover up a key component of what caused this young man's death, what was happening before this young man was killed by a group of people, using religion as an excuse. It's not good enough. It doesn't matter what your religion is. It's got nothing to do with it. Doesn't matter. Like Douglas said, if the identity of the victim matters, then the identity of the perpetrator matters. Otherwise, the newspaper would just say, man kills man. But you want the gory details, don't you? You want to sit there and find out who it was, which group is against this group today. Identity politics. This is what intersectionality does to a society. This is what it does. Intersectionality. That's what it does to a society. Pits one group against another. And to not speak up now makes you culpable. Rest in peace, young man.